Hi guys. Now we're going to talk about theme with our reading. So we've talked about a lot with the plot, the characters, the problem, the solution. We've talked about how our characters act and what kind of people they are. So we're going to finish up by talking about theme and then the author's purpose for writing things. So when thinking about the theme, I want you to think about what was the big idea of the story, or what is the author trying to teach us. Okay, so it's going to be your life lesson, and usually you can help figure this out by what your character learned in this story. So I know we've talked about these two books a lot the past couple weeks, and I just want to finish up using these two books when we're talking about theme as well. So after the fall, Humpty Dumpty, he showed perseverance throughout the whole thing. Which remember is when you just don't give up. And something doesn't work and you don't give up. So he showed perseverance throughout this book whenever he fell off the wall and was scared of it, and but he finally got back up. He also showed perseverance when he was making his paper airplanes, and when he first made them they didn't work the way he wanted them to, but he didn't give up. He kept doing it. Another life lesson or message or theme of this story would also be just because you fall, don't forget to get back up. And that kind of goes hand in hand with your perseverance. Enemy Pie was another book that we've talked a lot about. And, if we're sitting back and thinking what the author was trying to teach us or our main character of this book, it could be like, don't judge other people until you get to know them. Because remember, he really didn't like that one guy until he didn't like Jeremy Ross until he hung out with him for the day. That was the whole book, is that he was planning to give him this disgusting pie to get rid of him. But after he got to know him, he realized he wasn't that bad of a person either, which could also lead to the message of, sometimes people can surprise you. They're not who you think they are. So, both two very good books that we've talked about a whole bunch, and both there to the author was there to ready to teach us something from the book. I want to show you one more example with a short passage. This is also a fable. So I'll read through it, and then I want you to kind of think about what is the author of this fable trying to teach us, and then we'll see if it matches what I come up with. So this is called The Ant and the Grasshopper. One bright day in late autumn, a family of ants were bustling about in a warm sunshine, drying out the grain they had stored up until summer, when a starving grasshopper, his fiddle under his arm, came up and humbly begged for a bite to eat. "What?" cried the ants in surprise. "Haven't you stored anything away for winter? What in the world were you doing all summer?" Okay, so this is just a short little blurb, a couple paragraphs, but I want you to think really quick. Why did the author write this, and what are they trying to teach us? If you said something along the lines of, it's always important to be prepared, or something along those lines, then you're right on the ballpark. Um, and you can see that even in a short little story or short little blurb, there can be a author's theme or message also. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. I gave you three examples of theme, and one last thing I wanted to talk about was author's purpose. And you've probably seen this pie before. I think we talked about it earlier this year. If not, you've probably seen it in previous years. But your author is always writing to either persuade you, or to convince the reader of a certain point of view. So for you to be on the author's side. They can also write to inform you or teach you something as a reader. And lastly, they can write to entertain you or to hold your attention throughout for enjoyment. Okay, so I want you to think with the stories that we've read so far, After the Fall and Enemy Pie, why the author was trying to, what was the purpose? And I'm thinking the author, yes, taught me a lesson, but overall, were they teaching me new information throughout the time? Mm, I don't think so. Was the author trying to get me on their side about something? Mm, I don't know about that one either. I would say the best choice would be that the author tried to entertain us through After the Fall and Enemy Pie. Okay. So I want you to think about that going forward as you read as you continue reading all kinds of books and stories and passages. Your activity this week for reading would be like a now you try. And remember, this is practice. And remember also that we will do this during um, our small groups together this week. But you'll read through this other short fable. It's called The Lion and the Mouse. And then you'll just answer these couple questions for me that we've talked about. So I have a sequencing question on here for you. What was the first thing that happened in the story? I have a context clues for you. What do you think the word nod means in the story? And remember to use your story to help you with this. And then lastly, I have a theme question for you, which we just talked about. What was the message of the story? And guys, when you see questions like this, what is the message? It's really asking you what was the theme or the lesson of the story. Okay, it's just a quick 3 questions. No, this part is not a grade, but it is extra practice. And then your grade will look something like this. Let me get to it so I can show you. It's Sugar and Spice, and you have all week to complete it. It's due Friday. And Sugar and Spice, that's the name of the passage that you'll be reading. Let me see if it'll load. All right, and this one's set up as a quiz too. Hopefully that helps. So this week for reading and writing, it doesn't look like you have anything to upload. It'll all just be quizzes. So you'll read through this passage. It's a little bit longer, but guys, remember you should be reading on Epic every day to kind of build that stamina. So this should be easy peasy for you to read through. Okay, if you're keeping up with your reading daily. Okay, and this one has 6 questions for you. And these are really focusing on like looking for that evidence in the story, just some details. What did Mindy learn? Guys, that's a theme question. What did your character learn, or what did you learn in the story? Okay, it can be asked many different ways. A few of these are more detailed questions. I have another sequencing question for you here, and a character question. How did she feel in the beginning of the story? Okay. And then I have a summary question on here because, guys, just because we learned about something last week does not mean that we need to continue working on it, okay? And then here's another sequencing question where I give you events in order. And remember, this event right here is what you're looking for. And it happened after Mindy poured the batter into the cake pan, but it happened before Mindy's cake was hard as a rock when it came out of the oven. Okay, so think about that when answering that question. And that's actually your last question. So 6 questions, all on this one passage. Turn that in for a grade, please. And then you will be done with reading for the day. Bye, guys. Y'all come to Live if y'all have any questions.